I'd like to organize my code a little differently. Right now, I've just got a bunch of global variables and global functions and so on, and that's not so good. I don't like that all these things are global. We learned about methods now. We know that objects can have properties that happen to be functions. So how about we do that here? I'm going to make one object at the top called app. I'm going to put everything else inside it. So what's actually running when the page starts? We're defining a lot of functions, but almost nothing actually happens. We get the form from the page, create a function, define a function, and then we add an event listener to that form. The two things we do with the form are very, very far apart. But those are really the only things that happen when we load the page. So I'm going to make a function called init that runs when I load the page. Just like that. And then what I want to happen is, at the end, I just call app.init to make sure that it runs. So let's put this inside there. And let's put the add event listener in there. Okay? So that's those things. That's the stuff that happens right when the page loads. So that's just one property of this app object. So let's add the next one. We'll have a property called render property. And it's a method. It's this function right here. So let's just put it there. Don't forget your trailing comma, or we will forget next time. Okay, next we'll have a property called render item. And that is this big nasty function. Let's pretend I forgot to put the comma in. All right, next one. Handle submit. Colon, the function. We're moving fast. We got places to be. I'm going so fast I don't even see the red squiggles. Let's see what error message I get. Unexpected identifier. So that is a very common error to get when you forgot a comma. Now the error message I get inside Visual Studio Code is actually better than that. Comma expected. That was very nice of it. Comma. So remember that unexpected identifier is going to be on the line after where you forgot the comma. So unexpected identifier very commonly means that you forgot something like a comma or a parenthesis or something like that. I'm even going to put my trailing comma after handle submit. Don't forget, at the bottom, we actually need to run app init, or nothing will happen when the page loads. We'll have just defined a variable. But we actually need these two lines of code to run, right? So we start listening for the submit to happen. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, error right off the bat. Handle submit is not defined on line 4. Line 4, handle submit. What gives? Here it is. What's wrong? I don't care. It's an object property. Right. It's not just handle submit anymore, is it? It's app.handle submit. So that would probably fix it. But I feel a little funny calling it app from inside itself. An object ought to be able to refer to itself some way, right? Right. Forget the variable name. Inside the object, we're going to call it this. So this refers to the current object. Usually. This.handle submit. Very good. So inside a method, I can refer to other methods on the same object with this. All right. Refresh. No errors. I bet everything works. Okay. explode. Render item is not defined on line 45. Okay. Okay. We'll just deal with them one at a time. No big deal. Line 45, this dot render item. Okay. Now we're going. Render item is not defined. This dot render item is not a function? What? Line 45? What the crap is going on in this town? Anybody know? Here's the thing about this. The value of this at any given time is not based on where your function was defined, but on how your function was called, how it was invoked. Here's what I mean. This was the object, right? App inside init. Why? Because we invoked it this way. app.init. When you call a function by actually saying object.name of function, open close parens, that will always bind this to whatever came before the dot, whatever object that was. So, app. I'm not sure what you're saying, but hold on. Okay, sorry. So, since we called init with app.init, we called init as a method, which means this will be bound to whatever came before the dot, app. But I said this.handleSubmit, but I did not say this.handleSubmit open close parentheses. I'm not the one who called the function. I didn't invoke it. JavaScript invoked it for us, right? Somewhere when the event occurred. And it's the way that the function is invoked that determines the value of this. So handleSubmit was invoked as an event handler, not as a method. Doesn't matter that we defined it as a method. It was invoked as an event handler. And anytime you invoke a function as an event handler, this is bound to the target of the event. So inside handleSubmit, this is not app. This is the form. And a fat lot of good that does us. How can I deal with this? So anytime we invoke a method as a method, actually saying that dot the thing parentheses, this gets bound the way I want it to. But if it's invoked as an event handler, this gets bound to the event target. How can I overcome this? Without changing handleSubmit. No, because then I would be adding an event listener that says, okay, when the form is submitted, do whatever the return value of handleSubmit is, which is undefined. It has to be the actual function itself. From the function? Return the function from the function? Yo, dog, I heard you like functions. Function inception. We got to go deeper. I'll give you just another moment to think about that. The opposite of super. I don't want to change handleSubmit. I want this to actually be the right thing inside handleSubmit. Give it just a minute. Anytime I call a function as an event handler, it's going to bind this to the target. But anytime I call a function by saying dot name of function parens, it's going to do the right thing. Give you just another minute to think about it. Same problem. It's still an event handler. Yeah. Well, wait a minute. What if handleSubmit weren't the event handler? What if the event handler were another function that called handleSubmit? Stephen. Right. I'm just going to say it every time. And don't take it personally if I haven't memorized your name yet. It's a lot, and I just got rid of 50 others, you know. I mean, I didn't get rid of them. You know what I mean? They'll be in my heart forever. So what if I had a different function here? So let's just make up a function. Now it's the event handler, which means it'll get the event, right? And handle submit is expecting the event, so we'll make sure we pass it along. So what if that function calls this dot handle submit, passing along the event because I need to prevent default. I do it down there. Okay, let's prevent default. Cool. What? Now handle submit is not a function. On line 6. Oh, right, because now I'm inside this function, and it's still the event handler, right? But we're on the right track. So now this anonymous function still has this bound the wrong way, right? Yeah. Is there a way we can pass along this? There is. This is not the way we're going to do it long term, but let's show you this way. So keep this way in mind, though. I like the way you're thinking. We're going to go there. We could say handle submit dot bind. So there's every function, because functions are objects, they can have their own methods. So you can call bind on a function and tell it what you want this to be. So I could tell it, I want this to be the same thing that it is here on line 4. So that's one way we could solve this. So there is a way to just force this to be what you want it to be. So if I say bind this here, that works. Totally works. To do it this way, ES6 gives us another way to define anonymous functions. And I'm going to start a new video to explain that.